Nike just released a brand new commercial featuring Caitlin Clark and her new Kobe shoe that she released today. And I saw this commercial yesterday on social media. I thought it was so cool. There's a shot when she's in the locker room and she opens her eye and it like turns into what looks like a snake eye, but when you zoom in, it's actually the Kobe.
Nike just pulled off one of the boldest brand pivots we've seen in years, and A'ja Wilson isn't taking it lightly. She's absolutely fuming. After years of heavy investment and strategic marketing poured into Wilson's image, all while Caitlin Clark has been effortlessly dominating headlines with every three-pointer, Nike finally had its wake-up moment. They've realized that Clark isn't just hype, she's a phenomenon. While Wilson had the infrastructure, Clark had the spark, and Nike's late shift feels like an admission that they've been backing the wrong narrative all along.
Nike finally delivers Caitlin Clark PE. Is this the first Caitlin Clark exclusive Nike commercial since she's entered the WNBA? I know she's made a cameo here, she's made a cameo there, she was featured as part of this rollout here, featured as part of this rollout there, but is this our first official Caitlin Clark solo commercial since she has joined the WNBA?
Nike's finally realized they've been gambling on the wrong face of the franchise. For years, they doubled down on Wilson, assuming brand loyalty and curated storylines would translate to sales. But now, as they redirect their focus toward Clark, the woman who's turning everything she touches into gold, A'ja's having what can only be described as a meltdown. And let's be clear, this isn't just about athletic shoes. This is Nike publicly acknowledging that they've prioritized image over impact, and now the athlete whose shoes barely make it off the display shelf is being outshined by someone whose name alone causes their site to crash harder than an outdated server.
Caitlin Clark and Nike are officially dropping Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever player-exclusive Kobe 5s in just a couple weeks. So this shoe was first seen being worn by Caitlin and was thought to be a colorway made just for her up until just a couple days ago, where Nike's official images of the shoes got leaked and the announcement was made saying that everyone will now have a chance to wear.
Let's bring some receipts, because numbers don't care about pride or perception. A'ja Wilson's Nike A1S sold out in 5 minutes when they launched in May, which sounds like a flex until you realize Nike only dropped a tiny quantity. That wasn't demand, it was scarcity. A strategy designed to create buzz without proving anything. Now fast forward to Caitlin Clark's Kobe collaboration, 13,000 pairs gone within minutes. Not just 5 minutes, literal minutes. That's not a limited drop, it's a movement.
I don't think I'd be wrong to say Caitlin Clark's Kobe is the sneaker of the week, and everyone's focus is mostly on this one. If you really wanted that shoe, I hope you put your footwork in, because there's supposedly only 13,000 pairs of sneakers that's part of it. Combine that with a really high resale value, I expect this shoe to be a relatively difficult call. But my hope seriously is that with Caitlin Clark's sneaker coming out, that this sets a precedent and we might see other exclusive player edition Kobe's drop for the public.
When Clark's collection dropped, Nike's website didn't just lag, it basically threw up a white flag and gave up. The demand was so intense, resale prices instantly exploded, jumping to $350, then $600, with fans still scrambling for more. Clark's releases don't just sell out, they ignite a retail riot. We're talking full-on buying frenzies that make Black Friday stampedes look like neighborhood bake sales. It's not commerce, it's cultural takeover.
These things is some fire. I'm telling you, where there's smoke, there is fire, and these things is hitting so hard. And who got a bot? Who a shoe plug? Because I need 2 pairs. I need one for the sneaker wall, and I need one for my feet, because these things is hitting right here. And no, I don't want to pay $600 on.
Here's where things get complicated. Nike spent 2 years crafting A'ja's signature shoe like it was a royal project. She got everything: custom logos, creative control, cultural tributes. There are Celtic symbols honoring her parents, handwritten quotes from her grandmother, and personal flourishes down to the stitching. Nike gave her the kind of control that most athletes dream about. It wasn't just a sneaker, it was a tribute to her story, her legacy, her family.
I lost all respect for A'ja Wilson. I don't want to hear her opinions. I don't care what she has to say from this point on. When you keep a Nike deal 2 years in secret while you're spewing all that crazy stuff about Caitlin Clark in the Time magazine, read it, read what she said in the Time magazine, yet you had a Nike deal the whole entire time?
And yet, while Clark still doesn't even have an official signature shoe, just playing in Kobe's iconic hand-me-downs, those very Kobes are outselling Asia's handcrafted, story-rich designs by margins that make marketing executives question everything. Nike gave Wilson the full fairy tale. But Clark, with nothing but borrowed heat and pure game, is creating more buzz than Wilson's entire campaign. It's like watching someone win the race while still tying their shoes.
So it's finally here. Caitlin Clark sneakers from Nike is finally dropping. She was signed to them last year, and the sneakers is a year late in my opinion, but nonetheless I'm excited because these sneakers is finally coming out. But what does annoy me a little bit is that this is a collaboration with Kobe. Now, Kobe, respect to Kobe, the legend, rest in peace, great basketball player. But in my opinion, Caitlin Clark is a big enough star and she's creating her own legacy. So I feel like, at least for her first sneaker, it shouldn't be a collaboration with any other player, dead or alive, in my opinion. I feel like Caitlin should have, for her first shoe, had her own original design just for her, no collaboration.
Let's get real about the undercurrent here. A'ja Wilson's all about the me. She's been on a relentless campaign to be seen, heard, and validated, like she's auditioning for MVP of the marketing world. She got her name on a shoe, a custom logo that no one understands, and high-budget commercials directed by Malia Obama. Yet despite all this, she still moves like she's owed something. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark just keeps showing up, torching defenses, and accidentally becoming the most bankable face Nike's had since MJ. Clark isn't asking for respect, she's commanding it. No campaign necessary. Just raw game and undeniable gravity.
And all this was done while the shoe's being developed, while the collection's being done. To demonize Caitlin Clark and try to label her as a privileged white girl that's getting all the privileges, even though she earned everything she got. This ain't about color. This is about good and bad. And I honestly find this a little evil. I find this evil. This is beyond bad, because you had the ability to speak up and say, hey, everybody, relax. Don't get on Caitlin Clark. She got a shoe deal. That's cool. I got one too. Mine's taking a little bit, but it's gonna come out. Just be patient. She could have came out and said that, but she didn't.
Here's the kicker, Nike actually tried to make A'ja Wilson the icon. They threw over $20 million at her in a contract extension, crafted marketing campaigns centered around her underdog narrative, and pushed her diamond in the rough story like their lives depended on it. They packaged her up, sold her as a brand, and pitched her to the public like a product on clearance. But here's the truth, they were trying to engineer something Caitlin Clark radiates effortlessly. Clark signed her own $28 million, 8-year deal and instantly became Nike's most prized asset without needing a marketing army to back her. Every time Clark laces up her Nikes and steps onto a court, she generates more exposure than any ad agency could dream of. With Wilson, Nike needs directors, stylists, and scripts. With Clark, all they need is a camera. She is the story.
Nike did not fumble Caitlin Clark. It takes years and years of research and development and building and designing and trialing and erroring to build a custom shoe line. Caitlin Clark has played in only Kobe 5s and Kobe 6s almost exclusively for like the last 3 or 4 years. If they are building a shoe for Caitlin Clark, that Caitlin Clark is going to wear, that she's going to sell, that she's going to give away to her teammates, to her fans, to whomever, it has to be as good as, if not better, than the Kobe 5 or 6. And there's new Kobe variants out, and she doesn't wear them. She signed a $28 million 10-year contract with Nike. Year 2. We're in year 2 of that. The shoes are coming. They have to design them. It takes several years for this to happen. We're not just doing a colorway like Paige Becker's.
Let's pivot to market impact, where fantasy meets fiscal reality. Caitlin Clark generated an estimated $82.5 million in economic impact for Iowa alone. Not nationwide, just Iowa. That number isn't a typo, it's a mic drop. Her influence extends so far beyond the hardwood, it's practically rewriting how we measure star power in sports. Meanwhile, Nike was so busy trying to turn A'ja Wilson into the face of their women's division, they ignored the fact that Clark was already the female Michael Jordan, just waiting for them to notice. Even former Nike basketball marketing director Jordan Rodgers went public, blasting the brand for fumbling what could have been a generational marketing win. The writing wasn't just on the wall, it was flashing in neon lights. But Nike was too distracted checking off boxes on a corporate social justice checklist to read it. Their stock hit a 5-year low while they were busy backing a narrative the market didn't believe in.
Your stock price since 2021, it is down nearly 60%. Your executives and the people who are making these decisions, their stock options are worthless. Meanwhile, you have the single biggest needle mover in all of American sports since Michael Jordan, and you have somehow convinced yourself that you need to slow play this. Let me show you Google Trends search traffic for 4 female basketball players. There is one who only rivals Caitlin Clark, and that is Ain't Reese, and you do not have her. She is over at Reebok. I am so confused as to how you would be so invested in the WNBA for several years, and you have been doing great work to try to elevate and uplift that league and many of the athletes there. But this seems like you have convinced yourself that this needs to be an either-or conversation. And we never have an either-or conversation in the men's sports. You have like 10 signature athletes. Half of them don't deserve a signature shoe.
And now, as the dust settles, Nike is scrambling to catch up. Clark's Kobe sneaker drops and the internet doesn't just stutter, it implodes. It wasn't just high traffic, it was digital overload. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson is forced to watch her carefully timed rollout get eclipsed by Clark's casual Tuesday product drop. Wilson needs weeks of build-up, multi-city promo tours, and coordinated campaigns to move inventory. Clark? She posts once on Instagram, and fans are sleeping outside stores like it's a supreme drop in 2016. The harsh truth? Clark isn't just moving sneakers, she's moving culture. And Nike's finally admitting that. Wilson is stuck in a branding war while Clark is selling hope, aspiration, and belonging, all without saying a word.
I just felt like across the board, this commercial was a 10 for 10, and a lot of people have been getting on Nike because they don't feel like they have been promoting Caitlin as much as they should. But I will say we have to give credit where credit is due. I feel like in the past month or so, they have been tweeting about Caitlin more, and then obviously with this shoe release, they made this super sick commercial to promote it. And of course, just today, Caitlin Clark's new Kobe PE shoe sold out in less than a minute. And I saw so many tweets about this, so many people who were so sad that they missed out on this shoe. I saw that there was this one Dick's store and people were lined up around the corner like camping out trying to get the shoe.
Nike spent years artificially inflating Wilson's image, pumping money into storylines, accolades, and polished visuals, trying to spark a movement that never quite caught fire. They gave her every accolade under the sun: MVPs, championships, even Olympic gold. But none of it created the emotional spark Clark commands effortlessly. Wilson has the resume. Clark has the resonance. The difference? Clark's connection with fans is raw, unfiltered, and real. She's not chasing the spotlight, it's chasing her. While Wilson has spent years auditioning for a role she feels entitled to, Clark just showed up, played the game, and redefined it by simply being excellent. That's not strategy. That's
I find it's very deplorable to me. I find it's very deplorable that you allow Caitlin Clark to get crapped on that whole entire time and even speak up. And on top of that, Nike's a bunch of a-holes too, because they didn't speak up and defend Caitlin Clark or speak up and say, hey, we got A'ja's shoe coming. We got A'ja's shoe coming. Just gotta be patient. Caitlin Clark's gonna get hers too. I don't understand the tactics here. All you're causing controversy that didn't have to be there. You're calling division where it didn't have to be there. You're calling racial, issues where it didn't have to be there.
Nike's about face isn't just a shift, it's a full-blown survival move. While they were busy crafting campaigns to force-feed A'ja Wilson's brand to a skeptical public, Caitlin Clark was rewriting the playbook for women's sports visibility. Her games pull over 1 million viewers, numbers the rest of the league can't even sniff. She turns away fans at sold-out arenas. Her jersey? Worn like armor by young girls who now see themselves as more than just spectators. When her Kobe collab dropped, Nike's site was refreshed so relentlessly it looked like Taylor Swift tickets were going live. A'ja's drops feel like charity projects. Clarks feel like cultural events. One moves product. The other moves people.
You finally put her in a Super Bowl campaign with 9 other women, and all respect to them, but none of them are moving the needle quite like she is. Your tagline in that was "You can't win, so win." One of the best explanations I can come up with is that you are wringing your hands and afraid to enter into this politically divisive conversation that has been co-opted by the media and pundits who are race baiting and doing all kinds of ridiculous things around women's basketball. You can't win, so win. You have the unicorn, the chosen one, the one who everyone wants to hear from, and you were just sitting around Gatorade, State Farm, Gainbridge, Wilson Basketball, have all figured out how to have a point of view with Caitlin Clark. Please, for the love of God, figure something.
Here's the twist of fate that stings the most. A'ja Wilson spent years demanding the spotlight, shouting into the void for recognition, and fighting to be seen. Meanwhile, Clark didn't campaign. She didn't beg. She didn't perform for the algorithm. She just delivered. Over and over. Now that Nike is finally catching up to the obvious, Wilson is left watching the dream she chased fall into Clark's lap like destiny. When Clark releases a product, Nike's entire system buckles under the weight of her popularity. Think about that, $1 billion tech platform collapsing under the demand for one athlete's gear. That's not hype. That's historical. Clark's impact is seismic. Wilson's? A footnote with Wi-Fi.
Heard that Nike stocked about 14,000 of these, and that is an unconfirmed report, but they sold out in less than a minute. If that's any indication of what a Caitlin Clark signature shoe will do, I think Nike better continue to get on it and get ready to launch this brand.
Let's get brutally honest, markets don't care about feelings, resumes, or politics. They care about conversions. Wilson can stack MVPs and medals, but Clark holds something more powerful than a stat sheet: authentic magnetism. She's Netflix to Wilson's blockbuster. Nike had the future of women's basketball under contract, but they were too busy pushing the polished alternative. And now, Wilson is having her wait. I thought I was the chosen one moment while Nike silently shifts its resources to the one player who makes stock prices move. Wilson's shoes might keep selling to loyalists and those with an agenda. But Clark's gear? It's bought by everyone: young fans, parents, casual viewers, sneakerheads. That's the difference between niche symbolism and mainstream dominance.
Nike released the shoe this morning for $190. That was the going rate for the signature sneaker. Now, I'm here to tell you, as you guys can see right here on Google, just type in Caitlin Clark Kobe 5. StockX, currently right now, they're going for $345. On GOAT, they're going for $386. In Flight Club, you're looking at $375. Must mind you, these sneakers was just released a few hours ago. These sneakers were retail for $190. This is the Caitlin Clark defense.
Let's not kid ourselves. Nike spent years trying to manufacture a superstar in A'ja Wilson while the real generational talent was right under their noses, wearing competitors' shoes and setting attendance records in college gyms. They had Caitlin Clark in their orbit and treated her like a maybe. Now that she's the face of the sport, Nike's finally playing catch-up. Clark isn't just an athlete, she's a cultural shift. She crosses gender lines, age gaps, and fandom boundaries. Wilson's relevance has a peak. Clark's momentum is still accelerating. And Nike, at long last, is switching teams not because it's trendy, but because it's necessary. Wilson can continue campaigning, but the voters have already spoken. Their ballots? Worn on their feet. Their verdict? Caitlin Clark isn't the next face of women's basketball, she is the face. And she didn't need to ask for the crown. She earned it.